Sometimes, I can be so fragile that a single sentence makes me burst into tears. Like when I see a homeless elder huddled in the cold wind, or hear a friend talk about the hardships in their life, my tears fall like beads off a broken string, and I can't stop them. But at other times, I can grit my teeth and walk an extremely long path, from handing out flyers part-time to pulling all-nighters writing papers, from being questioned by fortune-telling clients to facing debt collectors alone. Even though I'm trembling with fear, I still force myself to keep going. Later, I had so much money, more than I could count the zeros of, but I couldn't spend a single cent of it on myself. All of it had to be used for others. I helped a teenager who washed dishes and mopped floors outside the school gate pay off a $300,000 debt. Later, he became a renowned genius scientist in the US, and when he mentioned me at a press conference, his eyes were filled with gratitude. I sponsored a child in a poor mountain area who longed to go to school. Years later, she returned home in glory and used her savings to establish a charity fund named after me, dedicated to helping other mountain children realize their dream of studying. I stood up for an actress who refused to comply with unspoken rules and was brutally suppressed. I helped her pay liquidated damages and connected her with high-quality resources. Later, when she stood on the Oscar stage as Best Actress, she held the trophy and choked out, "The person I am most grateful to in this life is Leora." I also invested in a rural revitalization project that no one was optimistic about. Even the founder herself was on the verge of giving up, but I disregarded the pressure and invested a huge sum of money. In the end, she became one of the most famous young entrepreneurs in the US, bringing her hometown specialties to the entire country. When the system finally calculated the results, my charity index surpassed 99.99% of users across the platform, giving me an overwhelming first place. The philanthropist system's voice was filled with confusion. "Host, how did you do this?" I thought for a moment and smiled, "Probably just luck." But it wasn't luck at all. I was born with the ability to see people's chi aura of fortune. Some people have a pitch-black aura above their heads, indicating extremely bad luck, and they will most likely encounter troubles soon. Others have a bright red aura, which seems lively but hides a hint of turbidity. This means they are in a streak of good luck, but their hearts are not upright, so they won't go far. There are still others with a faint golden glow or lingering purple chi above their heads. This is true nobility. It means that even if they are trapped in difficulties now, they will eventually turn their fortunes around and make great achievements. However, possessing this ability seems to go against the laws of heaven. My financial luck is extremely bad. Money in my pocket can disappear for no reason. Money deposited in the bank gets swallowed due to machine malfunctions. The high-paying job I finally landed collapses within a few days when the company goes bankrupt. The funds I buy keep plummeting and never rise. My master said this is the backlash of the 5 deficiencies and 3 lacks, a concept in traditional Chinese metaphysics referring to misfortunes that befall those with supernatural abilities. Since I can see people's chi, I have to bear the cost of losing money. I can never keep money unless I spend it all. I once thought I would never be rich in my life, until one day I bound a system. That day, I had just finished a $10 fortune-telling session and was sighing at my phone screen when a mechanical voice suddenly rang out, "Congratulations. You have been selected as the 888th lucky user. Please draw your system now." A turntable appeared on the screen, with labels like richest man, tycoon, island owner, philanthropist, and more. Ever since I discovered I could see people's chi, I've no longer been a firm materialist. I can accept all kinds of things that go beyond scientific reasoning. Moreover, I'm a novel fan who loves reading system novels. I've always dreamed of having a golden finger. I stared at the turntable, my heart pounding, watching the pointer slowly come to a stop, on the philanthropist section. "Congratulations. You will now be bound to the great philanthropist system." The mechanical voice paused, then added, "This system guarantees you an income of $10 billion every month." Before I could even count the zeros in $10 billion, the voice suddenly changed its tone, becoming cheerful. "Hello, host. I'm Xiao Ci, little kindness. Your monthly funds have been credited to your account, but I need to remind you, this money can only be used for others, not for yourself. I froze. I can't spend it on myself. Then what's the point of having even $1 trillion? As if it had overheard my thoughts, Xiao Ci quickly comforted me. Don't be discouraged, host. Although you can't spend the system's money on yourself, you couldn't save money anyway, so it's basically the same. I was left speechless, so this system was really good at hitting where it hurt? Seemingly unaware of my helplessness, Xiao Ci continued enthusiastically. Furthermore, while you hold the system, you will be protected by its rules and immune to the 5 deficiencies and 3 lacks. When the final assessment comes, as long as your charity index is high enough, you can completely get rid of the negative effects brought by your heavenly eye, and finally save money in the future. These words instantly filled me with excitement. In other words, even though I couldn't spend the $10 billion on myself, I could keep the money I earned during this period. Being able to save money, wasn't that the first step to becoming rich? I quickly asked, Xiao Ci, in the novels I read, you get rewards after spending money. Will I get cash back or something like that? Hee, of course not. Xiao Ci's voice sounded a little playful. Doing charity is about not seeking anything in return. I felt something was off, but before I could think more, Xiao Ci added, however, for your first time spending money on others, there's a limit. You can only help one person, and the maximum amount is $1 million. Only 1 million is better than nothing. Since I'd decided that charity would be my goal from now on, I couldn't act aimlessly like a headless chicken. Charity foundations were too far out of my reach. As a recent college graduate, the most I could do was buy a few meals for the needy or sponsor a few students. Besides, Xiao Ci had said that the calculation of the charity index was very complicated. It depended on the social contributions the recipient would make in the future. So I had to spend the money where it would count the most. After thinking for a long time, I decided to first create an online account to cast a wide net and find a breakthrough. With Xiao Ci's help using its superpowers, I quickly passed the verification. I named the account, 11UU, and used a golden koi fish as the profile picture. I posted my first Twitter, what are your recent wishes? I'll select 3 people from the retweets and comments to grant their wishes. To increase exposure, I also bought some promotion and pushed the post to the local channel, then sat in front of my computer waiting for comments. The first comment came quickly, 11UU. Isn't this the fortune-telling blogger? I awkwardly replied, hi, it's me. I'm thinking about switching careers recently. I had indeed been a somewhat well-known fortune-telling blogger before. All my skills were taught by my master, but except for being able to see people's chi, I had no talent at all. I couldn't learn any of my master's advanced metaphysical techniques, so I could only make a living by fortune-telling, charging $10 per session. Fortunately, my predictions were quite accurate, so I had accumulated a few fans, and that's why this Twitter gradually got more comments. I can vouch for her. The blogger's predictions are really accurate. Then I'll make a wish first. I want to clear my shopping cart. Is that too much? Fighting. I want a certain brand of hair dryer, but it's too expensive and I can't bear to buy it. Woo woo. I want to lose 20 pounds. If that's impossible, 10 pounds is okay too. Why aren't you doing fortune telling anymore? Switch to being a wish-granting blogger. Then I wish you'd tell me about my love life. The notification sounds kept dinging as I quickly scanned through the netizens' wishes. Most of them were simple, satisfiable with a meal or a piece of clothing. Some were obviously jokes, like asking for a villa, a luxury car, or even a helicopter. Others were insistent on asking me to do fortune-telling. I was starting to feel disappointed when my eyes suddenly stopped on one message. I'm posting this for the waiter guy next to me, he wants to go to college. It also included a location, which was a college town not far from me. I clicked into the netizen's homepage and saw that he was having afternoon tea at a coffee shop near the school. He also wrote, I heard this from the coffee shop manager. The guy's name is Kale. He was supposed to go to Stanford University, but his family got into trouble and owed a debt, so he has to work several jobs a day to pay it off. I think it's such a shame. These days I've been going to the shop every day to support him. Just now, I saw your post and asked him what his wish was. He said he wants to go to college, but he probably can't because of the tuition fees. I didn't read any further. Instead, I stood up and packed my bag. Shall see, I asked, host, where are you going? To do a good deed. I didn't look up, I'll go check it out first. My intuition has always been accurate. I think this is the right choice. 10 minutes later, I stood in front of the coffee shop. The setting sun was as red as blood, dyeing the entire street a warm red. The coffee shop was about to close, and the street was empty. My eyes immediately fixed on a thin teenager, not because he looked special, but because of the chi above his head. It was a rich golden color, like being wrapped in sunlight, but it was tightly surrounded by a strange dark red and black aura. The bright golden mist struggled to break free from the shackles, but it was useless. My heart skipped a beat. This was a sign of impending bloodshed. It seemed I had to follow him tonight. I didn't go into the shop. Instead, I stood at the door and quickly contacted a few people. As a fortune-telling blogger, I knew all kinds of people, including a well-known security team in this area. Although they looked fierce, they did their job once paid and followed the rules. While I was making contacts, Kale had already taken off his uniform, locked the coffee shop door, and turned to leave quickly. But he hadn't walked a few steps when several tall, strong men walked out of the alley next to him, surrounding him with malicious grins. Kale, we've been nice enough to you, haven't we? The man leading them smoked a cigarette and spoke contemptuously. How long have we delayed your dad's debt? Every time you say, just a few more days, who do you think you are? Sister Lyra specifically asked for you to accompany her for a night. She loves boys like you. As long as you make her happy, a few $100,000 is nothing to her. Be smart. Kale hung his head. I could see his handsome side profile. His eyes were long, his skin was fair, but his eyes were like stagnant water, devoid of any light. Later, I found out that his mother had died of an illness, and his father was a compulsive gambler who had gambled away all the family's property, run up a huge debt, and then abandoned him without a care. Kale had struggled for a long time to pay for his mother's medical treatment and pursue his own future, until his father had even gambled away the last of the money saved for his mother's treatment. By then, Kale was on the verge of despair. How much does he owe you? I suddenly spoke up, breaking the oppression in the alley. Kale turned around in shock. When he saw me, he froze. I was wearing a mask, revealing only a pair of curved eyes, and behind me stood a group of security guards much stronger than the debt collectors. The guards held up their batons and said firmly, our young lady will pay his debt. We're civilized people. We talk, not fight. Don't be ungrateful, understand? The debt collectors obviously didn't expect someone to interfere. They froze for a few seconds, then softened their attitude. Half an hour later, they left with the $300,000 I had transferred, grinning from ear to ear. After collecting their payment, the security team also said goodbye politely, leaving only Kale and me in the alley. I watched as the dark red and black aura above Kale's head slowly dissipated, and I felt relieved. This deal was worth it. Have you eaten yet? I asked naturally. I'm a bit hungry. Let's go get something to eat together, okay? Kale finally snapped out of his daze. He looked at me with complicated eyes. Who are you, exactly? Didn't I say? I blinked. I'm a wish-granting blogger, and you've won the prize. But I never made a wish. He stared at me. Can something like this really happen in the world? Will someone really appear out of nowhere to save me from this mess? He was clearly in disbelief at being hit by such great luck. I took out my phone and showed him my Twitter homepage, with the verification badge clearly visible. Look, you did make a wish. I'm a legitimate wish-granting blogger, you have to believe me. 11UU, he murmured my account name, lowering his eyes. His long eyelashes were even thicker than a girl's. Now do you believe me? I patted his shoulder, I'll help you go to college. Don't worry about the debt or the tuition fees, I'll sponsor you through formal channels, including your living expenses for all 4 years of college. If you run into any trouble, you can contact me anytime. He was silent for a moment, then looked up and said, I'll write you an IOU. I had originally wanted to say it wasn't necessary, after all, the money wasn't even mine, but when I saw his serious expression, I nodded, okay, no interest. Then, what do you want me to do? He hesitated for a moment, then made up his mind. His dark eyes were full of determination, I'll agree to do anything. I was stunned for a second, confused, why do you need to do anything? His ears turned a little red, and his voice lowered, I have nothing else to use to pay off the debt. If I have to repay you, it might take a very long time. Combined with what the debt collectors had said earlier, I finally understood what he meant. My mind went blank for 2 seconds, then I quickly clarified, I'm a legitimate wish-granting blogger. Wishing doesn't require a price. Since you've been selected, the only thing you need to do is accept this good luck. I used to be a fortune teller, but I'm also a law-abiding citizen, don't overthink it. He froze for a moment, and for the first time, a glimmer of light appeared in his eyes. I treated Kale to dinner at a street-side burger joint. It wasn't expensive, but the air was filled with warm steam. Through the mist, I saw him take a few silent bites, then liquid fell from his face. He didn't stop eating, and he didn't make a sound, but tears kept falling into his plate. In the crowded burger joint, we didn't speak, as if we had a silent understanding. I lowered my head, pretending not to see him crying, and focused on playing the role of a naive, wealthy blogger. Thank you. Finally, after hiding the last tear in the corner of his eye, he spoke in a soft but sincere voice. With Kale's permission, I posted about sponsoring him on Twitter, along with screenshots of paying off his debt and a photo of the IOU he had written. Shortly after posting, my charity quota reset, so I also bought a new dress for a single mother and paid the medical bills for a stray cat that had been maliciously abused. I didn't buy any promotion this time, but the Twitter still went viral overnight. In the comments section, some people expressed envy, some praised me, and others were curious if I still did fortune telling. Is this what being rich is like? I'm on my knees. I've met the blogger. She's a super young and beautiful lady, her fortune telling is really accurate, and she's so easy to talk to. I want to ask, does the blogger need an assistant? I have tons of wishes. She's such a kind and beautiful wish-granting blogger. PS. Will this comment make the blogger remember me? Am I the only one who finds this heartwarming? Seeing this Twitter late at night makes me feel like the world is such a nice place. The mother looked so happy in her new dress. That photo almost made me cry. The cat and the little brother are adorable too. The student sponsored by the blogger must be very talented, right? A freshman at Stanford University, while others are enjoying their summer vacation, he's still working to earn his tuition. Sigh, what a good guy, and he even insisted on writing an IOU. I randomly replied to a few comments, saying I'd continue doing fortune telling, and then posted another wish tweet. This time, there were even more comments. Before I could finish reading them all, I helped Kale completely resolve his debt issues. I not only paid off his debts but also added his creditor Lyra's contact information and gently reminded her not to bother Kale in the future. I casually mentioned a few recent events in Lyra's life, along with her birth date and horoscope and today's fortune. Her attitude immediately changed. People like her, who are involved in shady dealings, are most reluctant to offend someone like me, a so-called quack fortune teller. She smiled and said, Miss Leora, you've got the wrong idea. I've always treated Kale like a little brother. Oh, like a little brother? I thought to myself, more like someone she wants to seduce. But I didn't expose her. Instead, I said, I also treat him like a little brother, so I'll have to trouble Sister Lyra to take good care of him from now on. Lyra was silent for 2 seconds, then suddenly seemed to understand something, and her tone became meaningful. I see. Kale has a stubborn personality and isn't easy to get along with. But if Miss Leora wants to teach him a lesson, I have plenty of ways to deal with unruly younger brothers at home. I can even teach you some tricks later. There was something off about her words, so I repeatedly emphasized how much I cared about Kale. Only then did Lyra readily promise to keep the people in this area in line and prevent them from harassing Kale. After settling Kale's matter, I finally started going through the tens of thousands of comments. My eyes stopped on a somewhat special message. This isn't a wish of mine. It's something that happened recently. I suddenly remembered it when I saw this tweet, so I thought I'd share it. During class, I casually asked the kids what they wanted to do. The top student in the class raised her hand and said she'd never been to a bookstore and wanted to go. She's a big bookworm, so I asked her which books she wanted to read if she went. Then she asked me, what's a bookstore like? Can it stay open? Can I finish reading all the books there before leaving? I've given her a few books before, and I'll never forget the look in her eyes. They were the purest and brightest eyes I've ever seen, full of longing. Thinking about what she said, I couldn't sleep at night. So today, I took a bus to the bookstore in town and bought a few more books. When I was writing in the frontispiece, I couldn't help but think, I hope she can really get out of this place someday. There was also a picture attached, an open book with a beautiful, neat line of characters written on the frontispiece. Despite poverty, one should remain resolute and never give up on one's lofty aspirations. On that line of text, I saw a wisp of extremely faint golden aura. It belonged to the teacher who wrote the words, Marin, and also to the student she gave the book to, Leora. I clicked on the teacher's Weibo and found that she didn't post often, but every post exuded simple beauty, a bouquet of wildflowers given by students, a video of the whole class singing, and greeting cards drawn by the children. From those photos, I could sense a bright aura. A circle of golden light always surrounded them. Although it was faint, its color was extremely clear, beautiful, and pure without any impurities. This was different from the deep golden aura that symbolized rapid success and prosperity, like Yu Yan's. This pale golden aura only belonged to ordinary people, but it precisely proved how upright and wonderful they were.